My name is Jennifer Nava, and for my issues presentation, I chose parental involvement in high school. Why did I choose this topic? Parental involvement in a high school child's academics is an issue that many don't even consider to be one. High school students aren't given that level of support or interest by their parents as much as pre-K and elementary students do, when in reality it's even more necessary during this time period, seeing as in a few short years these students will be free into the real world without any kind of given structure or support by the parents at home. I found out that students receive more support when they're younger as opposed to when they're older. And few parents don't see the benefits that it creates by being involved in your child's school or academics. A lot of students struggle in school and they actually want that extra helping hand at home with the parent or guardian. Even something as simple as just checking in to see if the child needs assistance in homework could go a long way. Another reason why I chose this topic was because I really wish my parents had been more involved in my academics when I was in high school. Because when you're in high school, you're still figuring out life and need assistance sometimes. Why is parental involvement important? High school students sometimes can feel lost or alone when no one is there to help out at home. When the child sees that there's no engagement by the parent or guardian, they run a high risk of dropping out of school and not continuing their education. By building that bridge of communication and trust, the child would feel more comfortable knowing that there is a helping hand not only in school by the teacher but at home as well. Teachers do provide an extent of help to the student at school, but there's only so much that the teacher can do. Sometimes, usually in high school, the teacher will only have the student for up to an hour maximum. It's probably even less than that. But there's only so much that they can squeeze into and so much extra assistance that they can provide. Of course, they can provide extracurricular activities such as an after-school study session and a one-on-one session before school, but not every student can do that. Not every student's schedule is that flexible. But by having parental involvement provided, it creates like a comfort zone for the student, knowing that if they don't understand something in the class, they can ask a parent at home. So perspectives for opposing and supporting this argument. Those who oppose, I found, were some students and some parents. I found out that students could feel pressured by being supervised, and they could see it as a way of being hovered over or babied, and feel it as an invasion of privacy, which personally I do not agree with, because or at least the way I see it as long as you are in preschool, elementary school, middle school, or high school, even if you're an 18-year-old in high school, yes, legally you are an adult, but you are still a child as long as you are still in high school. That's the way I see it. And I see it as also as if you are still living under a roof provided by your parents or your guardian or someone that isn't just directly you, your parent or guardian has every right to check in on your progress, on your grades, on your academics, whatever they want. Another point that I saw why many opposed was that some said that some students might find that bridge difficult to create, which I can understand. I know that not every child and parent has that same communication or that same trust, that same support. Like, not every relationship is perfect. I understand that rocky relationships do happen, that they are there, so I can see as that being a barrier for a child not wanting to ask for their parents to be involved in their academics. Also, parents said that they sometimes work is crazy and that they don't have time to be engaged, which is understandable. I understand that some parents' lives are more busier than others. Some may have their plates more filled than others, and some even said that whether it's they work all day, they work all night, they work just the whole entire day as a whole, Some even said that they can even go several days without seeing their child, even though they live in the same house. And another point that they said as to why they opposed was that some of the students said that their parents don't speak English, which creates a language barrier, which is something that I can personally relate to because English is not my first language. At home, we primarily speak Spanish. I only speak English with my sister. So I can see that as a way for the parents to, kind of be pushed out of that part of their child's life. Now, moving on to the supporting side, I saw that parents, teachers, and students support this, but mainly it was parents and teachers. They said that students could feel motivated to finish school by knowing that they have that extra helping hand at home. They know that, mom and dad or grandma or grandpa or somebody at home is rooting for them to finish and that, they actually want to finish and do good in school and, just better themselves. Also, parents get to learn what their child goes through. I know that even back when I was in high school compared to the high school students now, I didn't learn the same things that they're learning now. Or maybe I did, but it's different strategies and different methods and techniques. And I was just in high school about 3 years ago, so I can't even imagine how much it has drastically changed between the parents and the students. So this way the parents get to see the obstacles that their kid goes through and they can help come up with a way to help them overcome it. Students could, parents could also email the teacher to check in. Something as simple as maybe twice a week or something could help a huge step forward. They could email and check in and say, "Oh, is my child doing okay? Do you need an extra help in getting through my child? Is there something that I can do that would provide the necessary means to help my child improve in their academics?" Something along those lines would be a huge step forward. Teachers, parents, and students could also create a workshop, a check-in, a follow-up, just an activity that works with everyone's schedules and is equally balanced with everyone. That way everyone feels at ease, there's no pressure, and just something that works out for everyone. So the influence that parental involvement has. I discovered that GPA has had a huge increase in students who have active parents in their academics. Now, I'm not saying that every single student who doesn't have active parents in their learning has low GPA, but usually if they do have active parents in their academics, they tend to have a higher GPA. And by supervising, not hovering and critiquing, which is something completely different, it can actually discourage a child from wanting to do better in school. But by having an appropriate and healthy relationship between the parent and student and teacher could benefit everyone. I'm not saying that the parent has to email their child's teachers about their progress every single day, but something like visiting the school and having a sit down with each teacher as minimal as twice a month would really help. The parents could learn what techniques the teacher uses with the student, seeing as in reality the students spend more time in school than they do at home with their parents. So the teacher obviously knows, what kind of techniques the student is used to, student is comfortable with, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a group activity, whether it's a checking in every now and then. The teacher could communicate that with the parent, and then the parent could learn to practice that at home and see what works out for them. And I also saw that graduation rates, GPA, and inspiration to college would also blossom from parental involvement. Now, not every student is destined or wants to go to college, which is obviously something completely understandable. But this way, they could acquire social skills for the workforce if they want to go into work right after high school, or just whatever they want to do after high school, they will be ready for. My position on parental involvement. I believe that parental involvement is a technique that should be practiced more often by the parents of high school students. Many parents believe that their child already receives enough academic structure by their teachers, but neglect to see that their input matters too. As I said, my parents weren't very involved in my own academics, but not because they didn't want to be, but because they don't speak English and weren't able to communicate with my teachers. I still remember being in middle and high school and my parents actually wanting to be engaged in my academics, but because there was that language barrier, that just wasn't an option for us. There wasn't always a translator or an interpreter, a translator. There wasn't always a translator available to us, and because I'm not a professional or I'm not certified, I couldn't do it. And I realized that this is a problem that a lot of students face, if not hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions. I'm not very sure. I know that's a problem. I just know it's a problem that a lot of students face. And a solution to this problem could be having an interpreter present in the check-ins, and the teacher could assign a task for the parent and student to complete that is reasonable for everyone. And I'm not saying that the parent should baby their high school students throughout the whole 4 years, but instead guide them into the right path and prepare them for college, the workforce, and just the real world. Because whether they realize it or not, those 4 years fly by fast. And before they know it, graduation day is going to be here, and they need to be ready. And these are my references, and that concludes my presentation.